in District 3, Congressional District 3, Danny Tarkanian beats out a field of 6 others. I just love that.
Send a true rebel back to Washington, D.C.
There you go. That's the campaign theme. That's the campaign theme. Danny Tarkanian in the House, and I'll tell you, they spent over $1 million on negative campaign ads against you, and you still won, and you won reasonably comfortably.
Well, Roberson spent at least $500,000 of his money on attack pieces against me, and then those 2 third-party PACs that came in, they spent another $1 million in the last 6 days. What was really gratifying to me was that we won Election Day by 5% after all those ads came out, and I can't thank the voters enough in CD3 to have the wisdom and understanding to not believe those attack pieces. A lot of times people just buy into what they see on TV. I'm just very thankful to the voters that they saw through this and understood that none of those things they were saying could possibly be true, and came out and still supported me.
I was worried that if you lost,
I was going to be razor blades.
No, that Amy would be locking up the knives and guns in your plate. No, but I was more concerned for your family. And we don't ever talk about this. We always talk about the impact on a candidate. But I want to ask you, when you see $1 million, I mean, what does $1 million in negative campaign ads look like? Well, we saw it in the last 6 days.
780,000 was by one group, and they ran 1,440 television ads against me in 6 days, 285 a day. It's unheard. In fact, John Ralston, the political pundit, said he's never seen anything like this before in Nevada political history, this amount of money in this short of a period of time. I'll tell you what, somebody really liked Michael Roberson, or somebody had a lot of money they wanted to waste.
I want to ask you, how did you and Amy cope with this? And I'm talking about from a family perspective. I mean, do you keep the kids away from the TV during the local, although it was everywhere. I mean, these ads were everywhere.
You know, first, the best question you've asked in all the time I've been with you on the show is, how would it affect the family if we would have lost? Because, look, I've been raised in a sports environment, and I can take losses. I've had some really wonderful successes, and I've had some very disappointing losses, and I know how to handle that. My wife has gone through some very, very tough losses with me, and I know she was on the phone 8-10 hours a day calling people trying to explain these television ads the last several days, and I think if we would have lost, it really would have crushed her, and I'm very, very thankful for that. With respect to your second question, I'll give you an example of how these things happen and why good people don't want to run for office. This is like Wednesday or Thursday. I hadn't heard any of the ads on the radio. I knew they were on TV. But I'm driving my little 13-year-old daughter to summer camp, and I hear this ad, corrupt politicians in Washington, D.C., we got to get rid of all of them. I'm thinking, dang, this is a good ad. Who are they going to get rid of? Who are these corrupt politicians? And Danny Tarkanian wants to join them, and he's corrupt. And I'm saying, can you believe this? My little 13-year-old who doesn't know anything about what's going on here is listening to this garbage, thinking to herself, what is it? What are they saying about my father? Is he really that kind of guy? You know, that's what's so bad about these things. And again, for the listeners, I know that you listeners are probably much more educated in the political process than others. But anybody who's going to stoop to say these type of malicious, deceitful attack pieces, you know they're not true. Nobody would run for office if any of this is true. And you know the reason why they're saying this is because they're losing and can't run on their records. And the sooner we can get more people to tune them out and vote against those type of people, the sooner we're going to get these type of campaigns eliminated.
You had one of the most amazing teams, led by your beautiful wife, Amy. But am I right? And in fact, I've been to your campaign headquarters twice now during the campaign, and probably the best person to call out to voters and urge them to vote for you was not Amy. It wasn't a bunch of volunteers.
Some 11-year-old.
Yeah, by the name of Ava.
Yeah, she was wonderful.
And by the way, she did your best radio ad.
Yeah,
just so you know.
She absolutely did. She was great. My daughter Ava was on the phones calling 3-4 hours a day, and she has the sweetest voice, and she's very understanding and knows how to handle herself on the phone. She was great. Let me tell you, the guy who ran Michael Roberson's campaign, nobody talks about this stuff on publicly, and I don't know why. I guess it's sort of off limits for candidates to say these type of things, but I'm gonna go past that and talk about it. Roberson's political consultant, the same as political consultant for Governor Sandoval, Dean Heller, and a lot of successful people. His name's Mike Slanker. A lot of people say he's the best political consultant in town, but the reason he's had a lot of success is he gets candidates who have all the money. that all the big people that are going to support them. And so he outspends people like they outspent me 4-1 in the race. But I'm going to tell you what, the best political consultant in the state of Nevada, and you're going to have as your next guest, is a person who ran Victoria Seaman's campaign, Robert Einthoven. He's the one who handled Laxalt's campaign in the last race. And you didn't see Slanker's whole MO is tear apart the person's character and destroy that person's character and make people not like him. Robert Einthoven runs a great disciplined campaign dealing with issues. He won the Laxalt, which was a big stunner over Ross Miller. And then how about Victoria Seaman winning by 30 points over a guy that was outspending her 10-1, and Robert Einthoven ran that campaign. And I will tell you, the guy who ran my campaign, he kept us very disciplined, on message, not getting off message. He's out of Sacramento. His name's Jamie Fisfus. I will tell you, anybody who's looking to run a race here in Nevada, they ought to look at Jamie and hire him because he's phenomenal. He's right there up with Robert Einthoven.
Again, joining us, he's back, Danny Tarkanian. He won the nomination in CD3 last night, a field of 7, some very talented people. Did you worry that the dilution of having 7 candidates in this race might negatively impact your campaign? That just to get to the threshold to be number 1 might be real difficult among 7.
You know, there's 2 schools of thought. One was, if it comes down to myself and Roberson, very few people, if they understand Roberson's voting record and what I believe with my political ideology, few people are going to vote that support me for Roberson. So anybody who's voting for Michelle Fiore, Andy Matthews, and the others are probably taking votes away from me. The second line of thought is Roberson was going to be extremely dirty and do a character assassination on me, and there are going to be a lot of people that would believe it. So it's better that there's more candidates in there that would spread the vote that I lose because of this character assassination. So instead of it all going to Roberson, it would be split between some of the other candidates. I'm not politically savvy enough to know which one is the truth, but it worked out for us, and I'm thrilled about it.
Coming up, we're looking ahead to the general election in November against an opponent that not a lot of people really know much about. We'll get to that and more coming up. Somebody by the name of Jackie Rosen. Here is what Jackie Rosen tweeted out earlier today. My opponent, Danny Tarkanian, is too reckless and too out of touch to represent this district. He's the wrong choice for Southern Nevada. Then she tweets again. Danny Tarkanian is also enthusiastic supporter of Donald Trump. He refuses to condemn Trump's bigotry, sexism, lack of judgment.
Look at Rosen is just using the talking points Harry Reid and the Democrats have given them to try to go after every candidate. You can hear that about Joe Heck. You can hear that about Crescent Hard and all of them. And I would like to ask Jackie, you are calling Donald Trump out for bigotry, but you are proud to have said you got into this race because of Harry Reid and that Harry Reid is your biggest supporter. Well, Harry Reid told your opponent, the Jesse guy, that he should not run because he's Muslim and he has no chance to win. You talk about bigotry. Harry Reid's the guy who said that the tourists that come to Washington, D.C. over the summer smell. You talk about out of touch with society, and you're going to sit here and question my support for Donald Trump when you're the puppet for Harry Reid, and he's made all those statements there? Of course. I look forward to this race, and I look forward to debating her and being able to get into the issues on who's more outlandish and crazy and out of touch, Harry Reid or Donald Trump.
That brings us to the question: how many debates do you want?
I think debates are wonderful, particularly the one-on-one, and I'll do as many as Jackie will agree to do. Unfortunately, in our primary race, I couldn't get Roberson to debate one-on-one, but I'll look forward to debating Jackie as much as we can.
I know that money is the mother's milk of politics, and you spent a lot of mother's milk in getting the nomination. Now the question is...
I spent a lot of my own mother's milk.
I was just going to say. Okay, so that brings us to the question, when does the fundraising begin? And a CD race like this, in a battleground state where you know that there's going to be a lot of outside money, how much money is it going to take to win this thing?
First of all, the fundraising started about 9 o'clock this morning, and it'll continue until the late Monday night before the election. That's the way these things work. It's hard to tell because third-party money is different than your personal money. When you raise money as a candidate, you can go out and you buy your airtime on TV. You get it at the lowest rate. Third party comes out, they pay about 3-4 times of what you pay. So when you see the third party, it's money. They need more money to have the same impact that you have. All I can do is worry about what I have to raise on my end, and I think we need to raise at least $1 million, maybe $1.2 million. I would assume there's going to be another couple million that'll be put out by third parties against Jackie, and the Democrats have already bought $3 million in TV time just for CD3's race. They've reported that already with their TV purchase that they had. So there's going to be millions of dollars on the other side put out.
I want to ask you about the issues, the issues in this race. Obviously, Jackie's going to make it about Trump, but as you view this, about you and supporting Trump and all of that stuff.
She supports Reed's her puppet, or she's a puppet of Reed. Well, come on now. That's a losing argument for her. I look forward to talking about that. But that's not issues. The issues are what I believe in and what my political philosophy, what I will do when I go back to Washington, D.C. and vote compared to how she will. I have no idea where she stands.
Tell me.
She stands whatever Harry Reid tells her is what she'll vote for, and it'll be interesting to see how she articulates that.
So what are the top one or two or maybe three issues that you've heard from voters? And I know you've talked at a lot of forums, you've met a lot of the voters in Congressional District 3. What are the issues that matter? I know the issues that you see in TV ads and all this stuff, but what are the issues that really matter?
The one that comes and goes is the national security and the defeating terrorism. And now it's very prevalent because of what happened in Orlando, and that's going to be going on throughout the campaign. But one that's always out there, that's always in people's minds, is this incredibly slow recovery that we're having from the recession because of what Obama has done with the increased regulations, the taxes and the fees that he's imposing upon small businesses and other requirements. People want the economy to get going again so they can get not only a good job, but a higher paid job so that their pay increase will at least stay as high as inflation, which it hasn't. You know, Obama's the first president in the history of the United States that has not had 3% GDP growth in his entire 8 years. He's the only president in the history of our country that hasn't had 3% or more GDP growth in the entire 8 years he's been the president.
Well, wait a minute, but every time I hear the president talking, he's celebrating 70-plus straight months of job growth, and that we were hemorrhaging 800,000 jobs a month when I took office, and that he essentially saved the planet.
Look, it's wonderful to hear Obama try to rationalize these things. He took office when the country had lost all those jobs and was at the lowest point of the stock market, jobs. We only had one place to go, and that was up. So, of course, we were going to. But he's been in office 7 years. Not 1 year has he had 3% gross domestic product growth in his entire term. And that's basically how you determine how well the economy is performing. Are you increasing your GDP at a high level so that people not only get new jobs, they get higher paid jobs, and people get more money that they can spend through the economy? He's the lowest in the history of the United States. And when I go out and I talk to people, that's what they're concerned about. They're saying, hey, I don't see this thing getting that much better. Either I don't have a job or I got this very low-paying job. I don't like it. I wish I could do something else. I talk to these businesses, and they'll complain about how they have all these excessive regulations, and they can't afford to either increase their capacity or start a new business. And that's the issue I think most important to people. If you look at all the polls, it's the economy.
I want to ask you about national security, and you touched on Orlando. There is a growing feeling that maybe this is going to be kind of like 9/11, where we had a lot of information, but we just didn't act on it the right way. People were afraid to rat somebody out, either because they were Muslim or whatever.
Or married to him.
Or married to him. I want to ask you, the role of the government, are they doing enough? Is the federal government doing enough to keep us safe?
Yeah, it makes me...
We're spending a lot of money.
It's really disappointing when you second-guess the government, act like they could stop every terrorist act that's going to try to be performed here in our country. They've stopped a lot of them. Unfortunately, because of our lax security, because we haven't done anything to really wipe out ISIS overseas, because we're not taking the fight to them where they live, they're taking it here on our land. And you're seeing some of these things happen from San Bernardino to now Orlando, and believe me, it's going to continue if we don't have a change in how we go after ISIS. And yes, it's going to be a concern. Now, it may die down for a couple months until another thing happens, but what are we doing to stop these things? And it isn't the local government. is, hey, why aren't we going after ISIS with everything we got and all these other countries that ISIS has gone after, Russia, Great Britain, France, and all of them, Belgium? Why haven't we got a coalition together? We're just going to go in there and wipe them out and eliminate them. We have virtually countries that were at war with each other, or at least in the Cold War with each other, that would all bond together and go after this terrorist group. And because people don't either like or trust, or Obama's not good at putting together a coalition, he can't get them together to go in and wipe ISIS out.
More coming up with Danny Tarkanian. More coming up. We're going to be joined by Victoria Seaman. Special edition of Live and Local Now, the day after primary election day. And I'm just going to tell you, I thought it was incredible. And when you watch it from up close, the highs and the lows, the people that you were absolutely certain were going to do well, come up a bit short, and the people that you like and you care about, do really well. It's amazing. Danny Tarkanian with us in studio. He just won the nomination for Congressional District 3. He'll run against Jackie Rosen. Jackie Rosen has already been tweeting out, and the attacks are on. And Danny, you're going to raise money, and you're also going to take just a brief respite. Am I right?
Oh, I'm certainly going to try to raise the money, and when we're taking a brief respite. Is that what you
respite.
Said? Okay. I assume
that's a vacation.
On a vacation.
It's going on a family vacation.
I'm going to be on the phones calling and asking people for money on the vacation. That's what you got to do if you're going to run this type of a race. And we're going to have a good time, but I'm going to have my hour or two every day where I'm reaching out to potential donors.
I'd much rather be making those calls from the beach in San Diego or someplace.
Yeah, it's not a bad life.
That's not a bad life at all. I want to ask both of you. I'll begin with you, Danny. The idea of unity. When somebody goes out and spends $1.5 million on negative ads against you personally, and all of them very personal, the idea of unity may be a tough one to fathom. And I'm just curious. Will you be hearing from people that did not support you in the primary, people that supported Roberson? I'm talking about Dean Heller and others. Will you be hearing from those people, and do you think there will be unity? Will people that maybe you wouldn't have thought of come forward to try and help you get elected?
No, I think I don't know where we're going to stand with Mike Roberson himself, but I can tell you with the people that supported Roberson, I believe we're going to get full support from all of them. In fact, I've already got a really nice call from Senator Heller, and he's going to help me in a number of areas that I need help with. He'd called me earlier today. Yesterday, I had a nice text from Lieutenant Governor Hutchinson, and he said he'll help anywhere he can. And I got a real nice call from Adam Laxalt, and Adam had to stay neutral in the primary, but he's going to help me any way he can. So I didn't have the help in the primary. I guess that's understandable, running against a majority leader in the state Senate, but they've all reached out to me and been very, very nice. And so have some of the donors that have supported Roberson. They've all called, and usually you got to call 4, 5, 6 times to get a donor to call you back. And it's been nice to have some of them call me directly. In fact, Steve Wynn called, his secretary called and put him on the line with me, and he's going to help me financially, which is where we need the most help at this point.
I love that. Victoria, I'm going to ask you because you're going to move, hopefully, from the Assembly to the State Senate. And as you move forward with the race, you came out of another one of these contentious races. Are you convinced there will be unity, that this fractious sort of atmosphere we've had so far during the primaries, not just in your race, but Danny's race and a whole bunch of the races, that all Republicans will come together?
Yes, I think that we will. Kevin, it's really important. My seat will determine the majority of the Senate in the state. So we must come together. I've had 2 senators that have reached out to me, and I will be getting back to them. We're going to have to come together. And like Danny said, this is something that we have to do. We have to start raising money. We have to unite the party.
For Michael Roberson to remain as a majority leader in the state Senate, he needs Victoria to win. If Victoria doesn't win, he's no longer the majority leader. So I think that forces everybody to get behind her, and I think she's going to have a lot of support.
What do you think? Now, this may be far-fetched. Michael Roberson might support you?
Oh, I think he will. He will definitely support me.
It's going to be fascinating to see how this all plays out. And again, everybody's already, I mean, we've seen just from the Twitter traffic, from Jackie Rosen, there's a lot of people believe that the general election campaign began about 11 o'clock last night, and it is. Victoria, thanks for coming in. I appreciate it. And by the way, if people want to support you, if people want to help out your general election campaign, where do they go? VictoriaSeaman.com,
or you can reach out to me by phone, 702-466-0407. Look forward to hearing from you.
And Danny, if folks want to support your campaign, where do they go?
Tarkforcongress.com, TARK, and then FOR for Congress.com.
I'll tell you what, it's going to be exciting. It's going to be fascinating. You're going to be able to chronicle a lot of it right here on this very radio program. Danny, Victoria, thank you so much. More to come as we continue